Board Loft. I'm Trip Foreman. We have Brett Barley with us, and we are here with Season 2 of Under the Glass, and today we are going to be reviewing the Pyzel Red Tiger. Brett, take it away.
The Red Tiger, from what I understand, is your high-performance groveler shortboard. And that's at least how I thought of it when I picked it up. And so the conditions I've ridden it in, it does completely check off that box as far as it's really maneuverable and responsive and fast in like super gutless surf. Mm-hmm. I've actually ridden it a bunch times that we didn't film throughout the summer, and it's crazy that a board, this is 5'8" by 19 by 2 1/4, 26.3 liters. A board that size can like rip a knee-high wave.
Yeah.
Like it goes really good. I rode at the lighthouse one day. I kid you not, it was like this big, just to like kind of test out like push in small surf.
Yep.
And the thing, like being able to go vertical on like knee to thigh high waves and still come out with speed and go down the line and keep going, like it goes really fast. It goes really well in that. So I had a lot of fun. I did find its upper range and what it didn't work in, but for small waves and ripping, it was perfect, honestly.
Yeah, I mean that's what, like when they released the board, that's what they said. They basically released two boards in that series: the Red Tiger and the White Tiger, and the red one being the Red Tiger being like the more shortboard, at least looking of the two boards.
Yeah,
and the White Tiger being a little bit more hybrid, looking like with a little bit wider nose. But it's really interesting and cool to hear like how well this thing works in the small stuff. Obviously they make a bunch of shortboards through Pyzel that are
tons
gonna,
of that are gonna
you
got plenty to cover the upper range.
Yeah, they got plenty to cover the upper range, but it's cool to see them coming out with a board like this for everyday conditions that people that buy boards and surf them are either like to surf in or forced to surf in, on a daily basis. Let's talk about the upper range, because I know, like, as it got juicier, there was like kind of a ceiling on it.
Yeah,
as well.
and it's not. I guess it wasn't even so much the size, because I did, catch some like shoulder head high waves on it. It felt fine. I was like, okay, so it's not maybe the size, but like how steep the wave was, because like as you can see, there's a lot of width up here, which is what you want for small gutless waves. But soon as you put that into like a steep, cupped out, like kind of barreling bully wave, even if it's this big, it, at least under my feet, bogged.
Okay.
And that's because it's a little thicker here and wider. And so when you're trying to knife that turn, it's like the nose will catch a little bit.
Okay.
So like you can still ride it, just you need to ride it with like a little more finesse. It's made for the gutless surf.
All right, and you have spent some time like in smaller waves, obviously riding this board because that's what we're talking about, but also like more like kind of grovelly type of boards,
like super wide
boards. Like a fling or a super fling or maybe that HAW like twin from the classic twin from last year's Under the Glass. How does the performance of this board differ? Like what do you get as a bonus, and are there any drawbacks compared to those boards in those tiny waves?
Yeah, so I would say bonus-wise is control. A lot of those other boards that kind of you're talking about, or just in general, your summer groveler, have really wide tails. And while the tail on this is, wide, I mean, you see how wide the squash is back here, it isn't in that realm of like, your ultra groveler. Like I'm gonna ride the most gutless wave and kind of not try and rip it. I liked this, I would say, more in terms of like being able to maneuver a wave. Like if I'm trying turns or trying low airs or just like speed and like gaining, maintaining speed for performance in general. It's not like your cruisy type board. Mm-hmm. It's made for ripping. That's how it felt. And that's what I would kind of suggest, is that it's like, it handles it in tiny waves, but it's best for like ripping. And so a lot of those boards, because they have such a wide tail, if you try and kind of push it a little too hard, you'll feel it. You need to finesse those a little more. And so then when you're surfing small waves, you don't always have enough room to do like a arcing carve or turn. Whereas with this, like you can fit that turn in pretty easily.
Okay. But it does take a surfer that's willing to be like maneuver it more and be more surfer input rather than the board doing the work.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would say so.
Yeah. What about accessibility? We always talk about like kind of what ability ranges this board's good for. Like who would you see riding this board below your ability range? I
mean, really anyone could ride it. I think it's actually a really good entry level shortboard. Okay. Like if you're going from beginner into the shortboard realm, you have more width up here, a little more volume throughout, and so it's kind of going to be like your good bridge into like a high performance shortboard. It's very forgiving in that sense,
right,
as far as like trying to learn turns and stuff, smaller waves, softer waves. So I wouldn't say that it's necessarily like, you know, some kind of performance small wave boards, depending on how they are, like I wouldn't necessarily recommend to a beginner, but I think if you're like trying to step up to a shortboard, would be a good start.
Right.
And then even at like an elite level, it rips really hard. And what I like too, compared to like other kind of grovelly boards that typically have a little more volume up here, a little rounder nose or whatever, they just like look, you know, surfing's like visual, right? Like it's aesthetics. And when you're riding a board like this in small waves, it like looks like you're riding a normal shortboard and you're ripping. To have like,
people are kind of scratching their heads. How is he making the shortboard going knee high?
To have like that shortboard look with like a small wave groveler feels, I really like that personally.
So a good like kind of go-to summer board, like or
even just like junk waves in general.
Yeah,
you know, it makes like kind of those weekdays, wind swell or whatever. And you're just trying to fit some turns in and just go have a sesh. Real fun.
Right. Awesome. Anything else you want to add about the Red Tiger?
It's good for airs. I haven't actually like done a whole lot of airs on it, but the feeling I've gotten like just launching the couple that I had, like it's just. I like having a little bit of extra width up and volume up here, especially when you're like coming down on a small wave. You don't want it too thin or too narrow up here because like you're landing backwards. Right. And if the wave's gutless, you can fall out of it easily. So it went really good for that as well.
Fin-wise,
fins.
You seem to be changing
we got some different fins in this one.
A little bit more. What do you got in the back here?
So these, actually forget what these are. These are the Vapor Core R8s.
R8s, that's a big number.
R8s,
that's a big number.
These are larges, and part of the reason behind that is, you know, typically in small surf, what I've learned is that you want a larger fin for drive because the wave doesn't really give it to you, so you kind of got to make it yourself. I started out riding this with, you know, my medium John John's in. That's like always my go-to for every board that I start with. And actually, Chris Culpin, one of the glassers for Pyzel, messaged me and was like, dude, you need to put some bigger fins in that thing. You're going to get way more out of it. And so I was like, okay, I tried it out and it felt way better. The John Johns were okay, but I did kind of lack a little bit of that drive in the weaker surf. And so when I put some larges in there, it kind of just got it to where I wanted it.
Right. So. And why are you going like in smaller waves? Why are you going R8 versus like a P8, like a pivot?
I don't know. It's what I have.
What you have?
I'm not the tech guy. I'm not like a huge pivot fin guy.
Okay.
I have tried them some. Disclaimer, not very much, so I can't really actually say. It would be interesting to try that out in this board and see how it went in small surf. But you like that template, like the rake, like even in small waves, it works for you. Personally, it's interesting, no, because it is all personal preference, and a lot of it is just the feel. You know? Yeah, I mean, not necessarily the name, but those how the fin feels. Those like more of kind of vertical pivot style fins have been around for a while, and I know people love them. It's not really my surfing. I haven't clicked with them yet personally, so this is where I'm at.
Awesome, that's good feedback. And
I don't have any large John fins, or I would have tried those.
Tried those out? No, it's all good stuff, Brett. Thank you so much for sharing it. If anyone out there has any questions on the Pyzel Red Tiger or would like to order one, either stock or custom, you can always reach us at the shop, 252-987-6000, or look us up online, realwatersports.com/surfing. Thanks for tuning in.